You don't come to me and tell me that I owe you. I don't know you. I owe you nothing. Scumbags.
Things are getting pretty scary right now out there for Tim Pool, but not just Tim Pool, although definitely for Tim Pool himself, but also for the United States and the world in general. As you can see on the screen right here, there is a kill list, quote unquote kill list, for people who are in the United States, including Jack Posobiec, Tim Pool, and many, many others. And Tim Pool absolutely loses his mind on this list existing and being allowed to exist. Let's get into what Tim Pool's reaction is to being on a kill list for a foreign country, for a foreign entity, for a country that we are supposed to be allied with. And I'm sure there's going to be nothing done for the fact that Tim Pool is on this kill list for this certain country that we're supposed to be allied with. Although if it was someone on the left, that would probably never happen. Let's be real, that would probably never happen. But if it was someone on the extreme left, you know, they would probably do something about it. Ergo, Brittany Griner, although Brittany Griner is just totally irrelevant to the well-being of America and probably a detriment to America for being inside, and she was detained for breaking the law in the country that she was in. But we went and got her. Why? Or got them. Why? Because, you know, it's a lefty. It's a lesbian basketball player, so of course we have to go get him. Of course we have to go trade the bringer of death or whatever the hell, the arms dealer, the Russian arms dealer. Anyway, let's get into this Tim Pool video of him reacting and losing his mind at being on this kill list. Let's check this out.
It's a list of names, 47 pages. I think it's several hundred people who are accused of impeding aid to Ukraine. I am one of these individuals. I, Jack Posobiec, Robbie Starbuck, even Nancy Mace, many others. I received a letter from Rep. Jim Banks informing me that I was on this list, which is part of an NGO, non-governmental organization working out of Ukraine that has worked with U.S. entities. And I'm going to read this letter for you so I can give you the full context. But suffice it to say that when you are anti-war, when you believe the United States should justify its wars, should declare war, they make you the enemy. Why? As I stated in my earlier segment, the United States is a vassal of the international, the multinational military industrial complex. We are a vassal state, as evidenced by the fact that if but a humble whinger on the internet, simply explain my opinion when asked, makes me an enemy, impeding their funding, which comes out of my pocket, your pocket, and is, well, to be fair, through modern monetary theory, basically just strips the buying power of the American citizen. If I just say, here's how I think, they're going to put together this, let's say, here are the people who are in our way.
And you should be in their way. Like, this is a good thing. The fact that you're on a list because you are simply saying that these American citizens' tax dollars should, if they're going to go to a certain place, it should be publicly justified to the American people. And you get put on a list for that. Because why? Why would you get put on a list for this unless it is totally unjustified to be sending money over there? Unless this is all just a performance to launder money and push money into Ukraine. Unless that's all this is, like that's the only reason why you would get put on a list for simply stating this opinion that Tim Pool has. That's the only reason. If this was a totally legitimate cause for American tax dollars to be going to, then there would be no pushback to what Tim Pool is saying because they would simply just justify it to the public eye. But they can't do that. They're putting on this performance. You know, the certain country is putting on this performance. Our country is putting on a performance for why we should be sending money over there. It's all just nonsense. And if it wasn't nonsense, there wouldn't be this list that existed. They would just simply justify it to the American people. And Tim Pool, Jack Posobiec, and everyone else who has common sense enough to question what's happening over there, that they would all shut up. They wouldn't be asking these questions anymore because they would just be shut down by the justification from the U.S. government. It's as simple as that. Instead, they make a list and say, these people need to be silent.
Who's them? The international military elite, these foreign volunteers who go and perpetuate this war that I have to pay for. You know, there's this video that I was showing earlier, or I was playing the audio from, and one of the guys who, the video's from an interview recorded of these volunteers. So you're not getting paid? Who's covering the supply of your weapons? Who's covering the cost of your gear? Did you pay for all of it? Let's have that conversation. Because I will tell you this right now, and I'd be willing to bet most of you agree. The volunteers who are receiving weapons, training, food, water, shelter, whatever, that money comes from somewhere, and it's coming out of our pockets. And that pisses me off. So I say this. How about you give me that money
If you enjoy content like this, then make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out a ton. Let's get back to the video.
back? The money that you stole from us. We didn't vote for this. You know, the American people don't want this. Overwhelmingly. You ask the average person, I don't even know. But it's being stripped from our pockets. And we are cursed with knowledge. You and I, we understand what's going on with this waste of money in a faraway land that we don't know or care about. And they try to justify why we should. Spare me. We live in different worlds, ladies and gentlemen. And you don't get to take from my labor and out of my pocket or anyone else's unless you justify the purpose of this war to the faces of the American people. Instead, they say, the American people are stupid. Let them pay the taxes. Let them lose their buying power, struggle to pay their rent, so we can send billions upon billions, hundreds of billions of our labor for Ukraine. There you go. Well, let's read the story. This is the story from the Post-Millennial, how they break it down. And then I've got the actual article from this NGO. Rep Jim
And by the way, this is just, in my opinion, this is a very common sense take. You know, this is my stance on everything. What really confuses me is this is the take that a lot of people have, like Tim Pool and many. This is basically like the normal take that every American has, except for the left. But then when it comes to when it comes to the Middle East stuff, they have a completely different take where now all of a sudden we're supposed to forget all the issues that we have in America and send everything over there and just be as involved in that stuff as possible. By the way, I'm trying to dance around certain terms here. I'm not this dumb where I'm just saying stuff and things all the time. You have to dance around certain terms, and that's just the world that we live in currently. But I do find it weird that, you know, Tim Pool and not to specifically call him out, but there's a ton of people who share this opinion of Ukraine where, oh, our tax dollars need to be justified. We need to be accounting for every single dollar that's sent over there and spent. And yet when it comes to the Middle East stuff, it's like, oh yeah, just send all the support, all the aid as we possibly can, and just kind of forget about the southern border, the crime that's running rampant, the inflation, all this stuff. Should just forget about that for a second. Support the Middle East. You know, I find that very weird. My stance on it, I like, you know, Matt Walsh's take on it as well. I think we need to shut down all foreign aid and focus on solving the issues that are within our country. The issue with that is the current regime, or the issues that I and basically everybody else with common sense out there sees as issues. The current regime of, you know, the Biden regime, they don't see that as issues. They don't see those things as issues. So if we did shut down foreign aid, which never would happen under Joe Biden, if we did do that, they would put the money in the wrong places anyway, because they don't see crime as an issue. They see it as going down, and they see crime as like, you know, it's being solved right now, even though it's definitely not. They don't see the border crisis as an issue, even though there's horrible things happening at the border, you know, absolutely horrible things, well documented. They don't see inflation as an issue, even though, you know, it's very obvious, you know, it's very obvious that these things are issues. They don't see them as issues though. So they wouldn't even solve that issue. They wouldn't even solve those problems. They would go do something else with them. But they would go try to get more trans generals in the military or trans pilots. And they would just do that. They don't care about the actual issues.
Banks reveals Jack Posobiec is on NGO's list of Americans impeding, they put impending aid to Ukraine. It's impeding, you guys. Typo there, Hannah Nightingale over at Post Millennial. Oh, Libby's going to see it. Libby's going to text you and be like, why is there a typo? On Tuesday, Human Events Daily host Jack Posobiec revealed that he'd been contacted by Rep. Jim Banks, I as well, who informed him that he was found on a list of U.S. individuals that a non-governmental organization in Ukraine alleges are helping impede aid to the Eastern European country. In fact, in essence, helping the Russians by spreading Russian propaganda. Banks wrote to Posobiec in the Tuesday letter that his name appears on a list of individuals. Well, I actually have this letter as well, so I'll show you my letter because it's more relevant to me, I suppose, and you watching this show. An NGO in Ukraine, which has worked with U.S. aid, included my name on a list with many others accused of impeding aid to Ukraine. I received this letter from Rep. Jim Banks. Oh, look, I got a typo. There you go. I put form Rep Jim Banks. Here's what I was sent. Congress of the United States, dear Mr. Poole, I'm writing to inform you that your name appears on a list of individuals and groups in the U.S. impeding aid to Ukraine, published by a Ukrainian non-governmental organization called the Data Journalism Agency, TXT, which has worked with the U.S. Department of State and the U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID. I love how they call it that, USAID. As you may be aware, other Ukrainian NGOs have published similar lists, which have published the personal information of those named in apparent attempts to intimidate them. I've enclosed a copy of a letter I've sent to the Appropriations Committee Chairman Cole, as well as State and Foreign Operations Appropriations Subcommittee Chairman Mario Diaz-Balart, urging them to stop the State Department and USAID from participating with any actors overseas who encourage the harassment of Americans. The Appropriations Committee markup of its bill to fund the State Department and USAID during fiscal year 2025 is scheduled to take place tomorrow. I appreciate your attention to this serious matter. Sincerely, Jim Banks, Member of Congress. Attached was an additional letter. Chairman Tom Cole. I write to you regarding the Department of State's Bureau of Educational and Cultural Affairs and the U.S. Agency for International Development's past partnerships with the Data Journalism Agency, TXT, a Ukrainian non-governmental organization. TXT was founded by Anatoly Bondarenko in 2010. Mr. Bondarenko worked as a trainer in the U.S. State Department's program called Tech Camp in 2015. More recently, USAID selected TXT as one of 6 implementing partners on its Transparency and Accountability in Public Administration and Services program. Mr. Bondarenko's NGO recently published a report titled Roller Coaster From Trumpists to Communists, the Forces in the U.S. Impeding Aid to Ukraine and How They Do It. According to the report, the individuals on the list oppose supporting Ukraine, and many echo key messages of Russian propaganda aimed at depriving Ukrainians the ability to defend themselves. All right, I'm going to refrain from swearing. Shove off. I'll keep it light. Ukraine, you can go F yourselves. You can take... I'm going to keep it chill because I'm about to get wild. You don't come to me and tell me that I owe you. I don't know you. I owe you nothing. Scumbags. According to
It's crazy. Like, do they think this is going to make Americans support them more? This is only going to make them make Americans like Tim Pool and like the others, the many others who share his same opinions on it, feel even worse about Ukraine. Like, this is not going to help their cause at all. And I don't understand for the life of me why it's not even just the Ukraine problem. It's so many other countries in these situations. They feel so entitled to America's help and America's money. They're so entitled to it. Anyone who is simply saying every single dollar should be accounted for, like, why are we, like, every single dollar needs to be have a specific reason published to the general public of the United States as to why it is being sent over there. Someone saying that is an enemy of the state. Like, what? That's insane. Let me know. Like, let me know in the comments. Why do you think these countries are so entitled, feel so entitled to America's money and America's help? Anyway, let me know in the comments what you think about this Tim Pool episode of him revealing that he is on a Ukraine kill list. Just absolutely wild, dude. Just crazy times, man. Just crazy times that we're in right now. Scary times. Let me know in the comments what you're thinking about this whole Tim Pool situation.